All right. Hey guys, we're gonna do creme brulee. It should take, I don't know, like 20 minutes. Should be pretty easy. You can see I've already done my mise en place. Sugar, salt, vanilla, egg yolks, heavy cream. This is just water for the water bath. I already have my oven heating to 325. The book says that you're gonna want to bring your heavy cream up to a boil or up to a simmer and then turn off the heat and let the vanilla bean steep for about 15 minutes. And if we were using a vanilla bean, that's absolutely the way to go. Really, if you're gonna flavor your creme brulee with anything, remember one year I did like a chai spiced creme brulee. And so really did kind of the same things where I had some chai tea bags and let that steep for 15 minutes. But since we're just using vanilla extract, we're just gonna bring it up to a boil. So I have the heavy cream on medium heat right now. And while we're waiting for that to come up to a boil, we're gonna take our 2 egg yolks and about half of the sugar. We're just gonna whisk that together. Once the egg yolks and the sugar are combined pretty well, you can let that hang out. When our heavy cream comes up to a boil, we will temper that into the egg yolks. Now tempering is basically we're going to add hot liquid to egg yolks or to any substance. In this case, egg yolks. We're gonna add the hot liquid to the room temperature or cold liquid a little bit at a time. And what that does is it slowly, in this case, it'll slowly bring up these egg yolks to the temperature of the cream. Part of the reason why we don't want to add all the cream all at once is it might cook the eggs. And so what'll happen is you'll have pieces of cooked egg, like scrambled egg, in your creme brulee. So by doing it slowly, by adding slowly the heavy cream and by tempering in the heavy cream to the egg yolks, we're gonna prevent that from happening. We can also add the salt in at this time. And even though your recipe says to add in the vanilla kind of at this stage, we're gonna wait until the end to add the vanilla in. Sometimes if you add vanilla extract in when a liquid is hot, it can bake off a little bit because it is mixed with alcohol. You know, that's how you get vanilla extract. And we don't want any of the flavoring to evaporate. So we're gonna add the vanilla towards the end. Part of the other mise en place that I have going on here is I have my container for my water bath, Bain Marie, and I have my ramekins. So I'm gonna put my ramekins directly into my container for my Bain Marie. Let's use these ones. Part of the reason why I want to do this is it's a lot easier to fill the ramekins in the container than to fill them outside of the container and then transport them in. So we're going to fill the ramekins in this container and then we're going to pour the water around. We're also supposed to add the sugar in at this part. Forgot. We're just going to add that in right now. It's really all good because all this is going to go into the oven anyways. And this milk is pretty hot, so it's going to dissolve the sugar. But yeah, you're supposed to add half the sugar in with the cream, half the sugar in with the egg yolks. All right. So we're going to temper this in. If you haven't done this before, it can be a little tricky doing it by yourself. What I would suggest is taking like a damp towel. You can take a damp towel like this and you can kind of wrap it around the bottom of the bowl, and then that will keep your bowl from moving. I've done this a lot of times, so I'm just gonna kind of go for it. We're gonna add this in about a third at a time. So we're gonna add in the cream and stir. We're gonna stir continuously. We're gonna do some more. You can see it's like loosened up the egg yolks quite a bit. All right, it's pretty easy. The last step that we're gonna do, I'm gonna rinse this out, is we're gonna strain the creme brulee. And some recipes call for you to strain the creme brulee, some recipes don't. I always like to do it because if there are any, you know, parts of the egg membrane or any parts of the egg that did cook, or even just, you know, maybe a piece of sugar that's a little bit bigger, the strainer is gonna help strain all that out. We're gonna add in our vanilla. We're gonna strain all this in here. If you don't have a strainer at home, that is absolutely fine. You don't have to do this step. We'll see kind of what we get out of here. Not too much, just a little foam. There's something in there. So that could be part of the egg membrane that didn't fully dissolve. Now we can just fill up our cups. We're gonna fill these about 3/4 of the way full. I think you should get about 5 or so, depending on how big your containers are. I'm gonna do these in ramekins, but you guys are gonna have disposable aluminum foil tins. They're gonna be round that you're gonna pick up from school. And then you just divide them evenly. Now, if I had my torch, what I would do right now is take my torch and torch each one of these. My torch is broken at the moment, so I won't be able to do that. But the reason why I would torch these right now is because you can see some bubbles. I don't know if you can see that. You can see some bubbles on here. And putting the torch on the creme brulee is just gonna help get rid of those bubbles. It'll like pop all of them and make for a prettier presentation on the top. So I would definitely suggest doing that. So this is a 9x13 casserole dish. If you don't have one of these, you can use like a cake pan, really anything that comes up on the sides. And I filled this up about halfway, trying to space these out so there's at least, you know, maybe an inch around each of the ramekins. All right, so these are just gonna go in the oven. They're gonna bake for about 20 minutes. Ah, that's some food coloring. That must have been on the bottom of my pan. Black food coloring. I used it for a cake and it just like got everywhere. So yeah, these will be in the oven for about 20 minutes, 20-25 minutes. What you're looking for when you take these out is you want the Jell-O to, or you want it to look like Jell-O. Jiggle like Jell-O, not wave like the sea, as Chef Anna says. All right, the timer finally went off again for our creme brulees. So let's give these a final check. Pretty sure they're done. At this point, they've been in there for about 40 minutes. All right, looks like they are done. All right, so we can give these a little bit of a wiggle, and they are kind of jiggling a little bit, but it doesn't look like just liquid. It looks like Jell-O. And you can also see around the sides of them, they're starting to be a little bit overdone. The sides are a little bit darker brown. We really want to stay away from that and more like what this guy right here looks like. It's a really even color and looks pretty good. So one of the most important things when you're making creme brulee is once they've come out of the oven, we want to straight away get them out. Oops. get them out of the hot water bath and onto a room temperature baking sheet. Oh, there's Cody. Say hi.
Hi.
The reason why we want to get them out of the hot water bath as soon as possible is just because the water bath is going to continue the cooking process. So we need to get those out as soon as possible. Then they're going to go in the fridge. Again, those are going to be wrapped individually once they cool down. I'm going to wrap them individually for storage. Now, the easiest way for me to get these from the hot water bath to the parchment paper is I'm going to pick them up, dab the bottom onto a clean towel and onto the sheet. And that's just going to help. Yeah, I can lift those up. Woo. That's just going to help get some of the moisture off of the bottom of these. Be careful when you're lifting these up. These are going to be pretty hot. But we do want to get some of that water off of there. Well, I tried a couple times with the sugar mixture that was in the book, and I just really wasn't happy with the results. So I'm just going to use regular granulated sugar, which is honestly, working at the Petroleum Club, this is what I've always used, just regular granulated sugar. Usually put kind of a little bit on there, quite a bit. You can do this in layers, is a good way to get a really nice, thick crust on there. So you just put on your sugar, kind of spread it out a little, and then all right, I got my torch to work, which is excellent. I just have to like light it. And really want to get the torch onto the sugar, really direct heat. And it's going to start melting the sugar. And as the sugar melts, I'm going to turn the flame up a little bit. It's going to start to caramelize quite a bit. Be careful not to really touch the container at all because it's going to be real hot. So sometimes you'll see people handling the ramekin and like turning it, rotating it to try to get a good even coat. You can do that, just be real careful. All right, we're starting to really melt all the sugar, which is excellent. After you brulee the top of the creme brulee, you can add a little bit more sugar if you like. So I have a couple of spots that maybe need a little bit more, just to be a little bit thicker. And you can build up this crust as you like. Once this is all complete, you really want to serve this within 1 to 2 hours at max. You want to serve it like right away as soon as possible, but you can hold it for a little bit of time. Just don't hold it, I would say, longer than 2 hours because the crust is going to start to get soft and then you'll lose that crunch. Once this is all the way done, wait about a minute or so before you dig into it because you do want the tops to cool down just a touch and you want the sugar to solidify on top. So it gives a nice crunch. All right. All right, we've let this cool for a little bit. I put it in the fridge. I put it in the freezer for like a minute. And so it is pretty cool. You can tell it's ready because when you click on this, you can hear it tap. So that's what you're looking for with a nice crust on the creme brulee. I'm going to break it open. I only let this set for like 4 hours, so that's why it's a little runny. But I was really excited. After that sits for 24 hours, it'll be nice and firm. So it's gonna really look like this. Yeah, that's it.